This is AU News.
Hello, and welcome to the inaugural edition of AU News. We're so glad you could join us. I'm Stefany Recinos.
And I'm Emmanuel Leondard.
Now, on to our top story. Last Sabbath, University Chaplain and One Place Church Senior Pastor JAPHET de Oliveira announced he's leaving Andrews University to become Senior Pastor of the Boulder Seventh-day Adventist Church in Boulder, Colorado.
The last 2 years I've been leading One Place here on campus, and we started it about 2 years ago, just literally celebrated our birthday. And it's really rekindled the passion in me to kind of do that full time. And so when this church came knocking on my door and said, hey, why don't you come and join us here, I thought that's the right thing to do now.
De Oliveira has been at Andrews University for 7 years, first serving as director for the Center of Youth Evangelism, which produces the International Camporee in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and most recently as university chaplain, overseeing spiritual life on campus. He is co-founder of the One Project, a series of gatherings focused on celebrating the supremacy of Jesus in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. He assumes his new role in January of 2014.
Boulder is the number 2 city in North America for being the least religious, and it's a small church, and they are really passionate and keen to do something. I really want to be part of that. I think that actually, if anything, I wish that everybody who, whatever experience they have at Andrews University, would actually leave it one day and feel that Jesus Christ is part of their life.
Dining Services recently announced some major changes to how they do business, one of which goes into effect this weekend. Manager Mark Daniels sat down with me to talk about these plans and how they'll affect us. So there's been talk of some new changes, no more paying with cash on the Sabbath, and also getting rid of the Thanksgiving dinners. Why is that?
I want people to know that this decision is about a year in the making. That about a year ago, several people approached me with a concern about us taking cash on the Sabbath. That doesn't really resonate well with our faith. But we want people to know that we offer a cafe account program where they can, anytime during the week, open up a cafe account and have a little blue card. It essentially works like a gift card where you're just loading money onto it, much like your meal plans are, and they can use that on the Sabbath.
And the Thanksgiving dinners?
Thank you for reminding me. And for Thanksgiving, when that meal takes place, it's beautiful and it's wonderful and it's delicious, but it's a large-scale event for us, and it requires that every full-time person that I have work that day. And if they do that, they're not getting the same privilege that we're offering to everyone else, which is time with their friends, time with their family, time to rest. And so the decision and the heart of that decision was a motivation to serve my staff and to give them that time with their family and friends.
If you visited the Gazebo at the beginning of the school year, you might have noticed extraordinarily long lines. We interviewed students a few weeks ago, and they expressed their frustration with the situation.
The wait time in the gazebo is actually pretty long, longer than necessary.
Too long. I have to eat. I can't eat. It's almost like a class period, waiting online.
Sometimes I just glance in and just give up hope immediately.
Too long.
The longest I've had to wait was actually an hour and a half. I don't know what happened. Maybe a worker left or something, but I was literally in there for an hour and a half. I timed it because we were all just sitting there and nothing was getting done.
Since then, the lines have improved, and Mr. Daniels explained to Stefany Recinos just what they're doing to correct the problem.
So there's been talk amongst the students about the long lines at the gazebo and how that poses a problem for them in terms of getting to class or even trying to skip meals because there's just not enough time for them to wait in line.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you guys are doing to kind of fix this problem for them?
One of the solutions that we've come up with is not necessarily changing the menu itself, but changing the way that we prepare certain items to make it faster. Smoothies, for example. Changing the order in which they're put into the container actually changes how fast they'll blend up, which makes it faster. Another solution is we're moving some of our staff around, some of our more talented senior level staff, pushing them toward the gazebo so they can actually get hands-on and then also increase the speed of the gazebo.
So some suggestions that have been said have been, oh, why don't you guys just hire more people, get more employees, that would make things go faster. Why is that not something that you guys are considering?
As with every department on campus, we work within a budget that the university writes for us or helps us write. So hiring more people is not the solution, particularly staff. So one of the things we've run into is that students don't always come in for their shifts, and that will hurt us. If I don't have a cashier, that's going to slow down a line, or they're going to have to do something else. And so that presents a problem. But when we're fully stocked with workers, we seem to go a bit faster. And let me just touch on that, at the beginning of the semester, it's really hard to train people because students don't come in weeks before classes start. They come in a day or two before classes start, and they're getting themselves moved in. So it's more difficult to have pre-training. So we do spend the first several weeks of the semester giving them hands-on, on-the-job training. And that slows us down in the beginning. And as the semester goes on and the year goes on, we get more efficient. So I think that's happening.
So would you predict that when the semester starts kind of rolling by even faster, that things will become a lot smoother?
Yes, I do. I do, absolutely. And that seems to be the trend that we've seen in years past. And keep in mind, the Gazebo this year the first year was open at the beginning of the semester. Last year it opened about a week and a half late. So it's still fairly new is the point I'm trying to make.
So I know you guys care and love about the students, so what would you like to let them know?
I do want them to know that I care, because when we look at the Gazebo and we see the line, we're not blind. We see that it's hurting them, that it is taking too much time. And so I want them to know that we care, and we see it, and we're working to solve the problem. We have certain parameters. The floor plan can't get any bigger. I can't add any more staff, and even if I did, where would I put them? It's a small space. So working within the constraints, that's not me saying, well, that's all we can do. It's about us finding the right solution, working in the parameters that we have. So we care. That's what I want them to know. We see it too.
The first University Vespers of the school year featured students sharing stories about their personal identity. One person interviewed, Jonathan Dorham, opened up to the student body about his sexual identity. Though he had already come out on Facebook, this was the first time the topic was addressed in this manner by the university. For more information on this story, here's Lorado Mwepeng.
Jonathan Dorham's time in the spotlight came suddenly. He was sitting outside Hamel Hall Friday afternoon when Pastor Jose stopped and asked him a question.
Oh, Jonathan, can I ask you a question? And this is Friday, the day of the Vespers. And he said to me, so we're interviewing different people about different aspects of their identity. So tonight, I want to ask you, so last year on Facebook you came out. How was that?
While Jonathan was initially scared to do it, he spoke to his family and friends who supported his decision to go beyond Facebook and talk directly to his peers.
And so we get to University Vespers, and right before I'm going on stage, I'm pacing back and forth in the room. I'm pacing back and forth. Everyone else is like, are you going to be okay? And I'm pacing because I'm really scared. And then I go on stage, and we start off with chit-chat and things like that. And then Pastor Jose asked me, last year you came out on Facebook. How did that go?
Since the music major's Vespers appearance, he says the response has been overwhelmingly positive.
So a lot of people did come out afterwards or Facebook messaged me saying how encouraged they were, how happy that I was, and they were commending me for my bravery.
Ultimately, what he wants people to know is...
it was the stories of all the other people I've heard where they've had to go through so many different things, and I just wanted to be able to help them and make their life easier. They are the brave ones.
Jonathan hopes by sharing his story, other people will be encouraged to share their stories. This is Lorado Mwepeng reporting for AUNews.
The Department of Agriculture introduced an innovative way for students to earn co-curricular credit. Kriston Alexander has more on how this initiative is taking root.
The Andrews Student Gardens, which has existed in some form or fashion since the university's inception, is sprouting something new this semester. Students can now work in the gardens and earn 10 co-curricular credit. Garth Woodruff, horticulture instructor and manager of the Student Gardens, says that of the 10, 2 credit hours are spent in lecture and the other hours are devoted to hands-on activities.
They'll come down on Friday mornings and they'll pack baskets for the CSA program. They'll harvest greens early that day or flowers. They come in on Thursday afternoons and evenings and they'll harvest things for the week. They'll do some plant maintenance. So they'll learn some components of everything.
Community-supported agriculture, or CSA for short, is a subscription-based program which allows consumers to purchase seasonal foods directly from the gardens. While picking, packing, and pruning keeps the crew busy. Don't think it's just for a season. The co-curricular program is year-round and students can expect to do a variety of jobs.
What we're doing now is harvesting. What we're going to be doing on Sunday is picking apples. What we'll be doing in December is pruning the apples. February and March, there'll be lots of work in the greenhouse, seeding things.
Ultimately, Woodruff says he wants all students, regardless of their majors, to get involved.
So we want them to do their English degrees and their psychology degrees, but we also want them to have that broad education and experience some of what the rest of it is that we have to offer.
This is Kriston Alexander reporting for AU News.
If you're interested in knowing how you can get involved, visit the department website at augardens.com.
You might have noticed fitness is a big theme on campus this year. There's a new School of Health Professions and talks of building a new wellness center. We took to the streets to find out how our peers are staying healthy.
So how do you stay fit?
Very good question. Well, I'll run on treadmill. Sometimes I'll do a class in Lamson, maybe like cycling, or what's the name of that other one? I think RIP.
So son, how do you stay fit before a soccer game?
For a soccer game, I'm always like running. I'm usually playing like striker. I'm playing like with African team, so we need like to run a lot and go push some weight.
I work out 5 times a week weightlifting, and then I run 3 times a week with stretching.
I do a lot of things to stay fit. I take Pilates, work on my core. I lift weights to work on the rest of my muscles.
Well, I mean, it's simple. It's, diet and consistent exercise.
What are some ways you're staying healthy this semester? Let us know on our Twitter and Facebook pages.
For PT major Taylor Masoto, staying in shape is no simple feat, and with reason. 2 years ago, he weighed almost 300 pounds. Since then, he dropped an astonishing 100 pounds. Justin Walker shares the story of this incredible journey.
14 hours a week, Taylor Masato is working out. The physical therapy major is healthy and in good shape, but it wasn't always this way.
I was an athlete too in high school, and then kind of like after I stopped playing sports in high school, probably like my junior year, I really just like kind of stopped working out, stopped caring about like physical fitness or just the kind of shape that I was in.
During this time, a life-threatening event took place.
March 2011, I broke my back in 2 places, and I realized that I really needed to change my life, not just what I was eating and working out, but just like my whole life, because I realized that if I continued down the path that I was headed on, that I was probably going to die.
The back injury was a blessing in disguise as it gave Taylor a brand new perspective on life. He changed his diet and embraced a more spiritual lifestyle. A typical meal is like this one.
A quarter should be some sort of carb, a quarter should be some sort of protein, and then half of it should be some type of green vegetable. But when you eat healthy like this, you really just feel good after every meal.
Physical fitness and a diet change is just half of the total lifestyle change. Taylor's spiritual growth has made all the difference. He went as far as tattooing his arms as a reminder to care for his body. He says it might not make sense to some people, but to him it does.
It does, because 1 Corinthians 6:19 is your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. And a lot of people think it's ironic because they say, the Bible has clear instructions about marking your body, and it does. And I've looked over it with pastors, with my mother, I've done the research for myself, and everything that the Bible has to say about marking yourself is it says not to mark yourself for the dead, and it says that everything you should do should be to the glory of God.
Zachary Weems reporting for AU News.
As we wrap up this broadcast, a look at what some of you are hoping for this school year.
What am I looking forward to the most this year?
What am I looking forward to the most?
This year? Fun. I'd say graduation because I'm a senior.
Learning a lot in my Western Heritage class.
Education.
Being able to graduate. Graduation!
People.
I guess meeting new people and kind of being on my own and independent for the first time ever.
Just another good experience, just university experience. Trips, some wins.
The possible snow days that we might get during the wintertime.
Probably basketball season, the Chicago Oakwood game.
And a championship maybe.
Having a relationship with God and just
seeing all my friends, chilling on campus, all that good stuff.
I'm looking forward to getting straight A's in all my classes, so I'm really aiming for that and studying.
Doing my studies.
I'm looking forward to having a disciplined, balanced lifestyle.
I'm looking forward to having the best year here at Andrews as I can.
What are you looking forward to? We'd love to know, and your comments might be featured on our next show. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you back here in 2 weeks.
Do let us know if you have any story ideas or what you think of our broadcast. AU News is a joint production of the news editing and intro to news production classes in the Department of Communication.
Until next time, God bless.